What is up, plant people? Welcome back to the Planthropology Podcast, the show where we dive into the lives, careers, and general awesomeness of some very cool plant people. I'm Vikram Baliga, your host and your humble guide in this journey through the plant sciences, and as always, my friends, I'm so happy to be with you today. It's Saturday, and this is a bonus episode. So, a little context for what you're going to hear in just a second. This is a pretty short one. I teach, if you didn't know, introductory horticulture here at Texas Tech University, and I have this semester about 170 students. And every semester, for the past couple of semesters, I've had them do a science communication assignment. They can either write me a paper that you might find on like a popular science kind of online periodical, that kind of thing. They can do a vlog style YouTube video. They can make me a TikTok, or they can record a 5 to 7 minute podcast. It's really cool, a lot of fun. That podcast is actually active now. It's called Let's Talk Plants, a student podcast. And I think there's only one episode on it so far, but I've got a bunch of them, and there will be more soon. I just need to record the intros for them. And here in the next couple of weeks, maybe after the semester ends, you'll get a whole bunch more of them. So go subscribe to Let's Talk Plants. You can find it most places. I'm still trying to get it everywhere, but you can find it on Apple. You can find it on Spotify and most of the other players. Anyway, they record an episode about a topic they like. It could be water conservation or plant biology, the basics. It can be about propagation. It could be about GMOs or public greens, but really whatever they want that relates to the class. And as we were talking about this assignment and I was giving them instructions and all that, my guest for today, one of my students, raises his hand and he goes, yeah, so can we just be on your podcast? And I thought about it and was like, I've never been asked that. And yeah, sure you can. Absolutely. So Ivan Rodriguez, who is a freshman landscape architecture major here at Texas Tech, I got to say, I really respect the boldness of some of these students. And he was just like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I didn't have to do this all myself and I could just be on your show? And I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So he wanted to come on and talk about how he's going to apply what he learned in the class to his career in landscape architecture and all that. So that's what you're going to hear in just a second. Real quick, you can follow Planthropology all the places. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as various forms of Planthropology. Search for Planthropology, which is anthropology with a PL on the front. Look for the green background with bristlecone pine. That's me. I'm on TikTok as @theplantprof. You can email me at planthropologypod@gmail.com. What else? There's probably other stuff. Oh, if you want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/planthropology. And for the price of a coffee, you'll buy me a coffee. And I mean that literally. And you could also buy some cool Planthropology merch. Go to planthropology.com/merch, and it'll take you to my Redbubble store. There's a lot of cool stuff on there, from stickers to hats and all kinds of cool swag. There will be more soon. Okay, I think that's all. Let's talk to Ivan. Well, we're back with more Planthropology, special episode this week. Ivan, how's it going today?
It's going great. Thank you, Vikram.
So I mentioned this in the intro, but this is for a student project for my intro horticulture class, and I asked my students to do a science communication piece, and Ivan was like, instead of just making my own podcast, can I just come be on your podcast? And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, no one's ever asked that. So I think it's kind of cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself. Where are you from? What are you studying? All the stuff.
Yeah, of course. So I am originally from San Antonio, Texas. I moved here pursuing a landscape architecture degree at Texas Tech. And that's about it. Just came here just to get my degree done, probably go with my brother and business and do something with
all right. Well, wait, so what got you interested in landscape architecture to begin with?
Landscape architecture, at first it was architecture.
Okay.
And then that's when I noticed there's a bunch of math involved. And of course, I'm not a big math geek. Sure. Yes, I know like the basics, like 2 × 2 = 4. But as when I looked further into landscape architecture and all what it consisted of, and like the designs and unique unique designs at that of just different landscapes. I was like, hey, that looks interesting. I'm gonna start doing it. I started off, like I said, this year here at Texas Tech, and I'm liking it so far. It's going great.
Well, that's good news. So the way this project worked, for those of you out there listening, I gave my students a few options of what they could do. They could talk about drought-tolerant plants in the landscape, native plants, plant breeding, or what was the other one? There was another one. Benefits of green space. There you go. And so everyone picked something and did a project over it. So why don't you go ahead and talk through what you've kind of prepared and what you learned?
Yeah, of course. So I want to start off by saying that this year in Principles of Horticulture has been fun. It's been just a blast getting to know all the different types of things that a plant can go through during its stages of life. I guess my personal favorite of both the lab and lecture part of this class is the sexual and asexual reproduction of plants. More going to the asexual reproduction of plants, because I really didn't know much of that, when all you have to do is have like one certain type of cutting on a plant, just plant it, and it depends if it automatically grows or not.
Right.
And as far as sexual, to me, that was just, I guess, a real, I want to say, human concept where, to me, what I got out of it is where, I guess, us people take one breed of a plant and another breed of plant, and then sexually produce those plants into something new, or like something unique and beautiful as what we have today in like either like the greenhouse here, or somewhere in like a landscape design place, and some sort of like that.
Sure.
And also, I want to say recently we just studied, as far as this end of the semester, we just recently studied native plants. I'm getting more of that aspect and I love that subject as well, because as far as native plants here, I'm applying that to my landscape architecture degree, both like with many projects I'm trying to get done as far as those classes go, and also like planning native plants around those sites and stuff like that.
Sure, and I think that's important too. It's and I've worked with a lot of landscape architects over the years, and I think a good skill for y'all to have in general is wherever you end up, if you can like look and understand that these plants do well here, like one, your installers will like you better because they won't have to go and replace stuff a bunch. But two, I think the customers that you work with will be a lot happier too, because they don't have to water as much and all that stuff.
Yes, of course. And like, I know for our lab class, my professor Colby, she wanted us to do a landscape design. So what I proposed is some sort of a botanical garden for Texas Tech in the shape of the double T sign that we do have here. And not only did I plant those native plants, I also did plant those herbaceous, those 15 herbaceous and plants that we had to know, both scientific names and also those at least 5 woody plants, and as well as those scientific names. That was also, I want to say, a unique process through the class that I got out of. Like, yes, I loved it, also learning the different types of plants that there were, but also I do want to say it was a quite hectic ride with those, getting to know those plants.
Oh, sure.
They'd be like, just like, I would always have friends asking me, hey, Ivan, what was this plant? And I'll be like, really struggling just to get to know what that scientific plant name was. But
sure.
But as far as right now, I'm still getting to learn them. I did do well on an exam.
Well, that's good. Glad to hear that
she gave. But yes.
Okay. So out of this class, I think one of the things as we were emailing back and forth thinking about doing this, something you wanted to kind of discuss is how you think you can apply what you've learned. We just talked a little bit about like native plants and using those in landscapes and things like that. Like, are there other things that you picked up that you feel like are maybe directly related to your life? Are there other things you can kind of take with you that may be helpful?
Yes, most definitely. And I did. There was another subject that we just talked about, vegetables, and I'm a big vegetable person when it comes to that. I always was taught that during my years of living with my parents. My dad always grew like either sort of jalapenos or in his garden, tomatoes or some type of vegetable. And as far as that and the different types of things that you can do and also study with those, that's what I really took from that subject, but also as well as soil. Of course, when someone wants to plant, I guess either vegetables or just regular flowers or just plants in general, they probably just go buy those basic soil needs that they need from, like, I want to say Home Depot or something. But as far as actually going into what makes perfect soil, I did not know that. I was just like, all I was taught was like, hey, throw that dirt in the ground and get to planting. And so I also learned about soil and like what the type of soil you would need to have a plant to actually produce and also grow through its lifetime.
Sure. Cool. Well, this may be a question that is hard to answer because you are just starting, right? You're a freshman.
Yes, I'm just starting. I'm a freshman. I'm just trying to take it all in at once. Sometimes it can be crazy. Sometimes it can't.
That is the truth. Yeah. And there's, you've got a ways to go, but like if you had, you mentioned you might want to work with your brother or something, like if there was like your dream place that you could go be a landscape architect, where would that be?
Oh man, that's such a good question. I want to say probably there's multiple places I've been actually. If I'm being honest, probably back home, San Antonio. Like home is like, I know this is like may sound cheesy and corny, but home is where the heart is.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
Like I was just there a couple of days ago for a convention for my landscape architecture degree, and the theme of the convention was greenscaping. So we did have a bunch of horticulturalists and a bunch of I want to say nurseries, plant nurseries that were there talking to us about different plants and actually selling and giving away plants that you could have planted on a person's landscape, or also selling different types of plants to different businesses as far as landscape architecture and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I want to say I would love to go back home and actually be a landscape architecture. But if not, this is like also being like a big dream of mine is also moving across the like world and being a landscape architecture in somewhere like as of Italy or like Spain or somewhere around there, because I know that they have vast amounts of land over there, and so it's like let's get to it.
Something a little different, right?
Yes.
Well, that's cool. So that's already been like 10 minutes, so that went pretty quick, and that's we'll keep it short for today. But one last question I want to ask. And you may have answered this sort of already, but what do you think was the most surprising thing you learned about plants this semester?
The most surprising thing I learned is, I want to say, just how much there is. I want to say basically all of it, because basically all of it. Going into the landscape architecture degree, I did not know that I did have to take a principles of horticulture class for it. I even asked my advisor, I was like, why? And I was like, what does that class basically entail? She's like, it's just plants. It's just a plant class. I was like, really? So, but no, I want to say I learned a bunch from this class, as well as getting to know what I would need as far as the landscape architecture, like the basics of, I guess, plant design also, and also just like getting all of it and just applying it to my degree. So I want to say I've learned a bunch of new stuff about plants, and I will still will continue to apply that on the daily. And it's just amazing how much that there is out there just you can do with it as well.
Yeah, cool. Well, cool. I mean, that's pretty much our time, and we've kind of gone through the basics of what you've learned this semester. Anything else you want to leave our listeners with before we sign off?
Yes. So if I do have any Texas Tech or future Texas Tech Red Raiders that are interested in landscape architecture, you will have to take a Principles of Horticulture, and I do recommend Vikram as your professor. He's a great professor, and he's just outstanding, and he is an awesome guy that you will just get along with.
Well, I appreciate that. I didn't pay him to say that, and he's not getting extra credit for saying that. But y'all, thanks for listening. And yeah, if you're ever, end up at Texas Tech someday and you want to take Principles of Horticulture, it's a pretty fun class. And Ivan, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. And y'all listening, I hope that if your semester's wrapping up too, which ours is, I hope it was a good one. If you're not in school and you haven't thought about it in years, good for you. And y'all have a good summer, and we'll talk again soon.